out, but you need somebody, just if you can follow me here, you just need somebody that's going to fall back and that's going to allow you to shine.
Right.
You feel me? So that's what the positive influence is, the influences that, quote unquote, we provide and that Nipsey Hussle provided for people. It's I can be a fallback for you, so you can see how you supposed to move, how you supposed to operate, this, that, and the third. Because a good leader, if you're a good leader, I heard this quote, if you're a good leader, the people will say they did it on their own. If you're a bad leader, they'll blame you for it. And it's just like, we not blaming Nipsey for the gang shootings or the gang violence around her, but we do blame you for their success and prosperity coming out of it, because you provided them an example. You feel me? You gave them a visual to be like, oh, I could still grab my nuts and do all that.
I can come from where he came from and still be successful.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's just like, oh man, that's crazy. Because he did want people to invest money. He did want them to, because he had this cryptocurrency that he had invested in. And it's just staying up to date on stuff.
Yeah, he was talking about starting, incubators. I think he does have some incubators out there in LA. Okay. Where, for tech startups in the neighborhoods out there, man. And that's something that I want to see out here in St. Louis, because we definitely need that.
I was about to say,
you know what I'm saying?
It's one that you're a part of called T-Rex, or?
It's not really an incubator, it's a co-working space.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. That's cool.
But, that's some stuff that I'd like to see out here in St. Louis, some tech incubators for, the black youth out here in St. Louis. We need some stuff like that.
I got a friend, her son is actually, deals with, robotics. I'm like, dang, dude. He's like, yeah. I was like, bro, you kind of like a Iron Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just like, that stuff can really not necessarily be, impactful. He also played basketball. And it's just like, what would be the odds? You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, man. This really, what I want to say, going forward, from this situation is, how are we going to carry out the mission? How are we going to continue on what people like him and people before him have set out for our community, have set out to do for our communities? Because, it didn't start with him.
It did not.
He got his inspiration from somebody else down the line in history, who got their inspiration from somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So it's a continuous thing. This is the thing. How are we going to continue this out so that we can make sure that the next generations to come are going to live a better life than we do today? I don't
know, man, because I say this, going forth is scary. I feel that the black community we're not organized to protect ourselves. Or let me say this, excuse me. We're not organized enough to protect ourselves against or the loss of, or provide protection, I should say, to where that would provide support for our state of thinking. If you want to provide change or become a revolution, I need protection. So for Nipsey Hussle, when he died, and then I see how you say it didn't just start with him, just doing a little bit further research, he was going to do, like you said, the documentary about Dr. Sebi. And come to find out, Left Eye was actually killed, or not necessarily killed, but a accident happened with her where she also talked about the same thing right before coming out to the world, saying, hey, you should follow this diet, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. Because, again, like you said, this information is in 1985.
Right. And people say that, oh, well, you can go and research the information. It's been out already. But it's like, how many of y'all have done that, though?
Yeah, and see,
How many of you all have done that? Yeah, it's out there. You can find out anything on the internet.
Yes.
But it's who brings you the information. Who brings you the information, and how does that message from that person, how does that touch you?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because
yeah.
with him being who he was and bringing out that message coming from him, coming from where he came from, it would have been like he would have touched a lot of people. A lot of people would have got the message, and they would have been questioning. And plus, he got influence. He's famous. He was a famous rapper. He got influence, which is he probably would have brought out some information that we might not have known about, and it would have started conversations. And you got to think about it. And like he said this, that's fucking with the pharmaceutical industry's money.
On me.
You know what I'm saying?
That's billions of dollars.
And you got to think, a lot of times in business, it's like the street life. People think that, these dudes in suits and all that is corny. Man, look, it's people with a lot of money who will do what they got to do to protect it.
Yeah, see?
There's people out there that's like that. And for real, let's be honest about the situation with Black Americans. We're weak.
Yeah, most definitely.
We are in a weak state right now, to the point where people are doing things to us on individual levels, and nothing is being done to them about it.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't have... Black people, we're calling for a leader, but we cannot provide protection for that leader, because it's like you got to be on your own, or the leader has to go make his own army. You feel me?
And like, so look, and this is how kind of simple it is.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense, yeah.
Okay.
It makes sense, bro. Because like this is what you know who Tariq Nasheed is?
Yeah.
So this is what he talks about. He says it's as simple as this. All we need is a code. All we need to do is just follow a code where we have things where we have a code where we behave a certain way in certain situations.
Yes.
Where we have things where we do and don't do.
Yes.
And we follow that like the Bible. You know what I'm saying? We follow that like a religion. Because when we do that, and we have a code where we don't fall from, they won't be able to do the things that they do to us. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, right.
Because that's how they operate.
And they go back to our last episode. It's not what you're called, it's what you're answered to.
Yeah.
And what just got me hype is just because when you say code, it's just playing on that language. The code of harmony can give you that. This is why I want to like throw my hat into the ring, but it's scary to be a young black man who wants to be a leader when knowing you have no backup coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the honest thing about it.
Yeah.
Because look, man, I'm gonna be honest. I think about things like, man, if I do this, people gonna be behind me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
if I fall, if I go through with certain things, are people gonna be behind me? You know, because there's a lot of things that I want to do and speak on, but I kind of don't. Which I honestly shouldn't care.
Yeah.
I honestly shouldn't care. But that's a thought in my head. People going, what's the word for it? Slander me.
Yeah.
For the things that I speak on. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely. And it's scary because not even that, they like some of the things you may speak on could affect somebody to hurt a loved one of yours. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I was listening to Fred Hampton the other day. I am the revolution. Where Chicago police came into his house and pretty much shot him up,
killed him in his sleep.
Yeah.
He was only 21, 22.
22.
Yeah, 22 years old, young.
And this like the potential that, quote unquote, that we would say the youth has is how can we fully say, hey, reach for the stars, when if we know that somebody gonna smack their hand and we not gonna do nothing about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and it's like, I kind of lost that. I had like a thought 5 seconds ago, but I kind of lost it.
You good,
but,
man. But Nipsey Hussle, man, rest in peace. Fallen soldier. The good die. The good die young. 33, just like Jesus, if you follow the Bible. Again, who is incorporated is a non denomination. We encourage you to believe whatever you must. But again, let's all come to the same agreement that whatever God you follow, may it be the universe or whatever, death is death, and it is hard to get by, but it's also easy to get over when you see the bigger picture of things behind it, and you see that the sacrifice that a person is willing to lay down, like how you say you shouldn't be afraid to speak your mind, and it's that fear that control us. But once we can, I feel like the crest that like we personally would have to jump over would be just getting that fear of death out of our
because if you know anything about spirituality, you know that when you die, you really don't die, you still live on. You just die in the flesh. But your spirit, it goes somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So you're still around, but you're just not living here on this earth anymore. Like I look at my body literally as a spacesuit. This is not me. My hand, my skin, all this is not me. This is a spacesuit. You know, this is just a suit that's allowing what's inside of me to dwell here on this planet. You know, really? It's not really me.
Okay. I feel that. Most definitely. But R.I.P Nipsey, we all gonna miss you. In that space, I'm happy to have you outside your spacesuit. That way you could be in this space with us. Your spirit will live on through everybody. Again, Who is Incorporated is a spiritual organization dedicated to understanding identity and unity within the community. So with that being said, thank you.
I think we should have just a quick moment of silence for our brother.
Most definitely.
All right.
Thank you.